Part 1. The great chamber of the Galactic Council hung in silent orbit above the green-blue swirl of Viridia Prime. Inside, hundreds of alien delegates sat in tiered rings, their forms as varied as the stars they came from. Some had too many eyes, others none at all. Some spoke in clicks, others in scent, and a few simply pulsed with color to share their thoughts. All were united by one rule: no violence, no lies, and no unregistered species in neutral space. That last rule had just been broken. A small ship, roughly shaped, dull gray and barely faster than light, had drifted into the Council's observation zone 3 days earlier. Its hull bore no sigil, no registry code, and no known language. When hailed, it responded in a series of sharp, rhythmic sounds that the translation matrix struggled to place. After much confusion, the Council granted it temporary clearance. Now its crew stood at the center of the chamber, nervous but proud. Captain Daniel Briggs adjusted his uniform for the 10th time. He was tall, with short brown hair and a face that looked like it had seen too many sunrises over oceans. Beside him stood Maya Ellis, her dark eyes scanning the crowd with quiet curiosity. She wore a simple blue jacket and held a datapad like a shield. They were the first humans to stand before the Galactic Council, and they knew the weight of that moment. A deep chime echoed through the hall. The High Arbiter, a tall being with smooth silver skin and 4 slender arms, rose from the central dais. "Identify your origin," it said, its voice translated into clean, flat English. Daniel stepped forward. "We come from Earth," he said clearly. "Third planet from the star Sol. We call our world Earth." The name registered in the system. On every delegate's screen, the word Earth appeared, tagged as Sol 3, unclassified pre-warp civilization. Most envoys barely glanced at it. Another backwater world, late to the galactic stage. Nothing to fear. Maya, however, felt uneasy. She had studied xenolinguistics for 10 years and knew that names carried weight. In many cultures, a planet's true name was sacred, sometimes even dangerous. She leaned toward Daniel and whispered, "Should we give them the old name too? The one from the myths?" Daniel shook his head slightly. "Not yet. Let's see how this goes." The Arbiter nodded. "Your vessel lacks proper shielding. Your drive signature is unstable and your comms array is primitive. You are not ready for open space. Why did you come?" "We received your signal," Daniel said. "The one broadcast to all emerging civilizations. The invitation to join the peaceful exchange of knowledge." A murmur rippled through the chamber. That signal had been sent over 2,000 cycles ago. Most species responded within a few decades. Earth had taken centuries. "You are late," said a delegate from the Velnari Conquered, its voice like wind through glass. "We had a lot to figure out," Maya replied gently. "Wars, famine, fear, but we made it. We want to learn, and maybe one day help." The Arbiter considered this. Then it asked, "What is your world's true name?" "Not the common term. The name your people whisper in stories, in songs, in prayers." Daniel hesitated. Maya stepped forward. "Terra," she said. The word left her lips softly, almost like a sigh. But the moment it entered the air, something changed. The translation matrix, which usually converted native terms into neutral phonetic approximations, froze. Terra was not processed. It was not altered. It was broadcast raw, unaltered, untranslated, through every speaker, every neural link, every data stream in the chamber. Silence. Then chaos. The Velnari delegate dropped its ceremonial orb. It shattered on the floor with a sound like breaking ice. The Zenthari envoy began chanting in a language no one had spoken in 5,000 years, a prayer for protection against the end of days. A reptilian delegate from the core system hissed and backed away so fast it knocked over its own seat. Even the Arbiter's silver skin flickered with alarm. "What did you say?" the Arbiter demanded, its voice sharp. "Terra," Maya repeated, confused. "It's just an old name. From Latin it means land or soil. It's poetic, really. We use it in literature, in science." "Silence!" The Arbiter boomed. The chamber lights dimmed. Emergency protocols activated. Red bands of light pulsed along the walls. Security drones dropped from the ceiling, hovering like silent insects. Daniel raised his hands. "Wait, we don't understand." "What's wrong?" No one answered. The delegates were already rising, some fleeing, others whispering frantically into comms. Within minutes, the great hall was nearly empty. save for a few stunned attendants and the two humans standing alone in the center. A small figure approached them then, short, hunched, wrapped in a faded gray robe. Its face was lined with age, its eyes deep and tired. It carried a staff topped with a glowing crystal. "You should not have said that name," it whispered. "Who are you?" Daniel asked. "I am War," the figure said, "last archivist of the Orlan people. And I know what Terra means." Maya's heart pounded. "What does it mean?" Kale glanced around, then leaned closer. "It means you come from the world that ended the First War. The world that made the Scourge fall silent. The world that even the stars fear to name." Daniel frowned. "That's impossible. Earth has never left its solar system until now. We've barely colonized our own moon." Kale's eyes held no judgment, only sorrow. "Then your history has been erased. Or forgotten. But the galaxy remembers. And memory is long." Before they could ask more, armored enforcers appeared. "You are confined to quarters Gamma 7, one said in flat tones. "Do not speak to anyone. Do not transmit. Do not leave." They were led away, not as guests, but as suspects. In their small room, with its smooth white walls and humming air filters, Daniel paced. Maya sat on the narrow bench staring at her hands. "This doesn't make sense," Daniel said. "We're just people. Farmers, teachers, engineers. We build hospitals, not weapons of mass destruction. But what if we're wrong?" Maya said softly. "What if there's something in our past we don't know about? Something buried so deep even our oldest records don't mention it?" Outside, the stars glittered coldly. Far away, near a quiet yellow star, a blue-green planet turned slowly in the dark. Unaware. Innocent. Or so it seemed. And in the deepest vaults of the Council's archive, ancient texts stirred in their sleep as if awakened by a single word spoken in a human voice. Terra. Part 2. Days passed in silence. Daniel and Maya stayed in their small room on Viridia Prime, watched by unseen eyes and silent drones. Meals came through a slot in the wall, tasteless paste, warm water, no utensils. No one spoke to them. No one explained why the word Terra had caused such panic. The only sound was the soft hum of the station's life support, steady and indifferent. Then, on the fourth night, the door slid open without warning. Vor stood there, hood pulled low, staff in hand. "Come quickly," he whispered. "They are debating your fate. Some want to erase your ship's logs. Others want to sterilize your world before it wakes." Daniel didn't ask what that meant. He just grabbed Maya's arm and followed. They moved through narrow service tunnels far from the grand halls of the Council. The walls here were old, patched with rust and strange symbols. Kale walked fast, his bare feet making no sound. "Why are you helping us?" Maya asked as they turned a corner. "Because I study truth," Kale said. "And truth is dying in this galaxy. Everyone fears the past, so they burn the records. But I kept some, hidden, and your name, Terra, it appears in the oldest ones." He led them to a chamber deep in the station's core. It was small, lit by flickering crystals. Shelves lined the walls filled with data crystals, carved stones, and scrolls sealed in glass. In the center stood a table with a glowing map of the galaxy. Dots of light marking dead systems, silent worlds, empty voids. Kale touched one dark patch near the galactic rim. This was the Virex cluster. 10,000 years ago, it held 50 thriving civilizations. Then came the Scourge. In one cycle, all life vanished. Not destroyed. Gone. As if it had never existed. He moved his finger to another dark zone, closer to the center. "The Helion Reach, same fate." No wreckage, no signals. Just silence. "And Terra?" Daniel asked. Kale looked at him. "Terra is not on any official map. But in the forbidden texts, the ones written before the Great Erasure, it is named as the Scourge's birthplace. Or their grave. The records disagree. Some say Terra created them. Others say Terra killed them. All agree on one thing. When Terra speaks, the stars listen." Maya shook her head. "That's impossible. Earth has no such history. Our oldest ruins are barely 10,000 years old. We didn't even have telescopes until 400 years ago." "Then your memory was wiped," Kale said simply. "Or locked away. Sometimes civilizations do that to survive. They bury their past so deep it becomes myth." He handed Maya a small crystal. "This contains fragments from the Orlan archives. Listen." Maya placed it on the table. A voice filled the room. Not human, not alien, but something older. It spoke in a language that made Daniel's teeth ache, but subtitles appeared in clean English. Beware the blue world. It does not burn, it waits. When the seal cracks, it will not scream, it will sing. And all who hear will kneel. The recording ended. Silence returned. Outside, alarms blared faintly. Red lights flashed through a grate in the ceiling. They've found us, Kyle said. You must leave now. But how? Daniel asked. Our ship is guarded. Not all guards are loyal, Kale replied. I have a friend. She flies a courier vessel. She'll take you to the edge of council space. From there, you must find your own way home. He pressed a small device into Daniel's hand, a key shaped like a leaf. This unlocks Dock Bay 12. Go there tonight. Say nothing. Show this to the pilot. Her name is Lyra. She has red eyes and no left ear. Before they could thank him, Kale turned away. Go and remember, your world's name is not just a word. It is a key. And keys can open doors, or cages. They ran. The corridors were emptier now, most beings asleep or in emergency meetings. They reached Dock Bay 12 without being stopped. A small ship, sleek and black, waited with its ramp down. At the top stood a woman with sharp features, red eyes that glowed faintly and no left ear. She nodded when Daniel showed the key. Get in, she said. We leave in 30 seconds. The ship lifted off before the ramp closed. Viridia Prime shrank behind them, a jewel of light in the dark. Maya watched it fade, her mind racing. Back on Earth, no one knew what was coming. In Antarctica, deep beneath 2 miles of ice, something stirred. Dr. Leo Grant stood in a snowstorm staring at his monitor. The ground had been shaking for hours. Not an earthquake, something smoother, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. His team had drilled down to investigate a strange energy reading. What they found was not rock. It was metal, smooth, black, and warm to the touch, and it was humming. Now the humming had changed. It rose in pitch, forming a pattern. Leo recorded it, then played it back. The sound made his dog howl and the base's lights flicker. He sent the file to every major lab on Earth. Labeled only unknown source, urgent. He didn't know it. But the same frequency was echoing through space, carried on solar winds, picked up by distant probes. On Viridia Prime, the Council's sensors detected it too. The High Arbiter stared at the readout, face pale. It has begun, it whispered. Aboard the courier ship, Maya listened to a new message from Earth. Leo's recording. She played it once, then again. On the third play, she gasped. That's not random noise, she said. It's language.
Ancient human language, pre-Indo-European. It means...
Awake? Daniel looked at the stars ahead. Then we're already too late. Lyra adjusted course. Where to? Home, Maya said. We have to get back to Earth, before the galaxy decides to destroy it. The ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, leaving the Council's domain behind. But fear traveled faster than light. Across hundreds of worlds, fleets powered up. Weapons charged. Orders were given in hushed voices. Target Sol System. Authorization Omega Protocol. Objective total sterilization. No one questioned it. The name Terra was enough, and deep beneath the ice, the heartbeat grew stronger. Part 3. The courier ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel just beyond Mars. Earth hung in the distance, blue and calm, unaware of the storm gathering at the edge of its solar system. But something was wrong. The planet's usual radio chatter, music, news, chatter from satellites was gone. Only a low hum filled the comms, steady and deep, like the breath of a sleeping giant. Maya adjusted her headset. That's the same frequency Leo recorded. It's everywhere now. Daniel stared at the screen. Why isn't anyone answering our hails? Lyra, the pilot, checked her scanners. Your planet's orbit is full of debris. Not from war, from something waking up. And look, there. She pointed to a cluster of bright dots near Jupiter, Council warships. They're not hiding. They're waiting. Maya's stomach dropped. They're going to attack. Not yet, Lyra said. They're holding position, like they're afraid to get closer. The ship descended through Earth's atmosphere, shaking as it hit the thick air. They landed near McMurdo Station in Antarctica, where snow stretched in every direction and the wind howled like a warning. Leo Grant was waiting, wrapped in a heavy coat, his face pale but determined. You came back, he said, helping them out of the ship. What's happening, Leo? Daniel asked. Leo led them inside the base. Screens lined the walls, all showing the same thing, a massive structure beneath the ice now glowing with soft blue light. It started 3 days ago. The ice cracked open on its own. We didn't drill. It opened for us, he showed them footage. The black metal surface had split down the middle, revealing stairs leading down into darkness. No one had gone in yet. It's warm down there, and the air, it's breathable, like it's been waiting. Maya touched the screen. This isn't alien. It's human. How? Daniel asked. Look at the symbols, Maya said, pointing. They're not writing. They're harmonic markers, like musical notes, and they match patterns in ancient cave paintings from France, India, Australia, places that had no contact with each other. We thought they were art, but they're instructions. Leo nodded. I ran DNA tests on the ice near the opening. Found traces of human cells. But they're older, way older, like 50,000 years old. And they match every living person on Earth today. Daniel sat down hard. So this thing was built by humans, or something that made us. Before anyone could answer, the ground shook, not violently but deeply, like a sigh from the planet itself. The lights flickered. Outside, the sky turned green. The pulse, Leo whispered. It's getting stronger. Up in orbit, the Council fleet reacted instantly. Shields flared, weapons locked. One ship fired a warning shot, a kinetic rod aimed at the Antarctic site. It streaked toward Earth, moving faster than sound. But halfway down, it stopped. Not exploded, not deflected, just stopped, hanging in midair like a bug in amber. Then it turned slowly and flew back toward the ship that fired it. Silence followed. On Viridia Prime, the High Arbiter watched the feed with wide eyes. It knows we're here. Back in Antarctica, Maya ran outside. The sky was alive with shimmering light. The aurora wasn't just pretty, it was forming shapes, letters, words, in every language, past and present. One phrase repeated over and over. We are remembered. Daniel joined her. What does that mean? It means we're not alone in our own history, she said. And we never were. Inside the base, Lyra monitored the Council fleet. They're not attacking, but they're calling for backup. More ships are coming. Bigger ones. Leo looked at the entrance to the structure. We have to go down there. No, Daniel said. It's too dangerous. It's more dangerous to stay out here, Leo replied. Whatever this is, it's tied to us. To our blood. Maybe that's why it's awake now. Because we finally reached the stars. Because we said our true name. Maya nodded. The myths always said the Guardians would return when humanity was ready. Maybe ready doesn't mean having weapons or ships. Maybe it just means knowing who we are. They suited up, not for cold, but for the unknown. The stairs led down for miles, spiraling into the earth. The walls were smooth, covered in those same harmonic symbols. As they walked, the air grew warmer, softer. It smelled like rain and old stone. At the bottom, they found a chamber. In the center stood a pedestal shaped like a human hand. On it rested a crystal pulsing with the same rhythm as the hum. Maya stepped forward. Without thinking, she placed her palm on the pedestal. Light exploded, not blinding, but clear. Images flooded their minds, not in words, but in feeling. They saw Earth as it was long ago, green, wild, filled with creatures that walked like men but thought like stars. They saw a war, not against aliens, but against something older, something that fed on silence and fear. They saw humans, not as we are now, but as we were meant to be, calm, strong, connected to the planet like roots to a tree, and they saw the sacrifice. The Ancient Ones didn't build a weapon. They built a lock. They poured their knowledge, their power, their very souls into the earth itself. Then they faded, becoming the first humans, smaller, weaker, forgetful, so the lock would stay hidden until the galaxy was ready to remember. The vision ended. Maya pulled her hand away, tears on her face. It's not a weapon, she whispered. It's a seal. And it's breaking because something is trying to get out. Above them, alarms blared. Lyra's voice crackled over the comms. More ships just jumped in system. They're not Council. They're from the Zenthari hegemony, and they're broadcasting one message. Burn Terra before it sings again. Daniel looked at the crystal. Then we have to finish what our ancestors started. Maya nodded. But we can't do it alone. The seal needs all of us. Every human, everywhere, she turned to Leo. Get on the global net. Tell every government, every station, every phone. Broadcast one thing. The harmonic code. The true name. Not as a word. As a song. As they climbed back to the surface, the sky darkened. Not from clouds, but from ships. Hundreds of them, gathering like vultures. Earth had one chance. And it wasn't with guns or shields. It was with a name, a memory. A song older than time, and somewhere deep in the ice, the heartbeat waited for its chorus to begin. Part 4. News spread fast. Within hours, every screen on Earth showed the same image. Maya standing in the snow holding up a datapad with strange symbols. Her voice, calm but urgent, played on every radio, every phone, every public speaker. This is not a weapon. It's a key, and it needs all of us. Governments argued at first. Some called it madness. Others said it was a trap. But then the sky changed. Ships appeared, hundreds of them, dark and silent, hanging over every major city. Not attacking, just watching, waiting. People looked up and felt it, the hum in their bones, the pull in their blood. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. In Tokyo, a grandmother sang an old lullaby to her grandson. The notes matched the symbols on the screen. In Nairobi, a street musician played a flute tune passed down for generations. In Rio, children clapped a rhythm their mothers taught them. None of them knew why. They just felt it was right. Leo worked with scientists across the globe, feeding every known folk song, chant, and nursery rhyme into a global network. Patterns emerged. The same tones, the same pauses, the same rise and fall, repeated on every continent and every culture for thousands of years. It wasn't coincidence. It was memory. Deep in the Antarctic chamber, the crystal pulsed brighter with every voice that joined. The structure under the ice began to glow, not with heat but with light that felt like hope. Daniel stood on the surface watching the fleet gather. "They're going to fire," he said to Lyra, who had stayed with them. "Not yet," she replied. "They're scared." And scared beings hesitate, but hesitation wouldn't last. The Zentari flagship sent a final message. 1 hour. Then we cleanse the cradle of the scourge. Maya came out of the base, her face tired but clear. "We're ready. Every nation is broadcasting the harmonic sequence, even the ones at war with each other. For the first time, Earth is speaking with one voice." She looked up at the sky. "Now we wait." Back in orbit, the council watched in silence. They had expected fire. They got song. Human voices, millions of them, rose together, not in anger, but in unity. The sound wasn't loud, but it carried. It wrapped around the planet like a blanket. Satellites picked it up. Probes recorded it. Even the council's warship's sensors couldn't ignore it. On the Zentari bridge, the commander frowned. Why aren't they fighting? Why are they singing? No one answered. But the hum from Earth was getting stronger. It made their weapons flicker. Their shields wavered. Their thoughts grew quiet. In Antarctica, the ground trembled again. This time it wasn't a pulse. It was a response. The structure opened wider, revealing a core of pure light. From it rose a soft tone, low, deep, and steady. It matched the human song perfectly. Maya understood. It's not just listening, it's joining. She ran back inside, Daniel close behind. At the pedestal, she placed her hand again. This time she didn't see visions. She felt them. She felt every person on Earth, every heartbeat, every breath, every whispered hope. And she felt something else. A presence, ancient and gentle, waking from a long sleep. It's not a weapon, she said aloud. It never was. It's a guardian, and it's been waiting for us to remember how to call it. Outside, the first kinetic rods launched. Fired from the Zentari fleet, they streaked toward Earth, designed to melt cities, boil oceans, erase life. There was no defense, no shield strong enough. But as the rods entered the atmosphere, the song changed. Not louder, deeper. Every human voice shifted to a single note, the same note the crystal sang. The air itself vibrated. The rods slowed, then stopped, then turned gently, and floated back toward space like leaves on a breeze. The fleets froze. On Viridia Prime, the High Arbiter watched in awe. They are not controlling it. They are part of it. Back on Earth, people didn't cheer. They kept singing, because they finally understood. The power wasn't in the structure. It was in them, in their voices, in their shared memory. The Ancient Ones hadn't hidden a weapon. They had hidden a truth, that humanity, when united, could calm the storm. Leo stood beside Maya now, tears in his eyes. We thought we were just survivors. But we're keepers. Yes, she said, and keepers don't fight. They protect. The Xanthari commander stared at his screens. His weapons were dead. His crew was silent. And the song filled his mind with images of green fields, of children laughing, of stars without war. He had never felt peace before. Now he couldn't let it go. He ordered his fleet to stand down. One by one, the other ships followed. Even the council vessels powered down their weapons. No one spoke. No one needed to, but the danger wasn't over. Deep beneath the ice, the light pulsed faster. The song was holding the seal, but something was pushing back. Something old. Something hungry. Maya felt it in her bones. "It's not enough," she whispered. "The song is strong, but the lock is breaking. We need more." Daniel looked at her. "What more is there?" She turned to him, eyes wide with realization. Not more voices. The true name. Not just as a sound. As a choice, she grabbed the comms. "Tell everyone. Not just to sing, to say it, to mean it. To call Earth by its real name, not as a place, but as home." Across the planet, people paused. Then in every language they spoke one word. Terra. The ground shook. Not with fear. With power, and far below the seal held. For now, Part 5, the word spread like wind across water. Terra. Not shouted. Not demanded. Spoken softly with love like a promise kept. In cities and villages, in deserts and mountains, on ships and in shelters, people said it. Not as a name from old books, but as truth. As home. The moment the last voice joined, the Antarctic structure flared. Not with fire, but with light so pure it turned the snow gold. The hum became a chord, deep, warm, and whole. It rose into the sky, wrapping around Earth like a shield made of song. The council fleet watched, silent. Their weapons were useless. Their fear was gone. In its place was something they had forgotten, wonder. Then the light changed. It gathered above the planet, swirling like a galaxy in miniature. From it emerged an image, not a weapon, not a god, but Earth itself. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds. It turned slowly, gently, as if showing itself to the stars for the first time in ages. A voice came then, not from speakers or comms. It entered every mind at once, human and alien alike. It was not one voice, but millions, men, women, children, past and present, woven together in harmony. "We do not conquer. We protect. Remember us not as monsters, but as keepers." The Xanthari commander fell to his knees. Tears streamed down his scaled face. He had been taught that Terra was death. Now he knew it was life. On Viridia Prime, the High Arbiter stood alone in the empty chamber. For the first time in centuries, it felt small. Not because of power, but because of peace. It sent a new order. All fleets stand down. Terra is not a threat. It is a guardian. Back on Earth, the light faded. The structure under the ice grew quiet again, but the hum remained. A soft pulse in the air, like a lullaby for the planet. People stepped outside, looking up not in fear, but in pride. They had faced the galaxy and answered not with guns, but with a name. Daniel stood on the ice, watching the stars. Maya joined him, her breath forming clouds in the cold air. "It's over," she said. "No," he replied. "It's just beginning." And he was right. Within days, the council sent a message, not of warning, but of apology. They asked for Earth's help. Not to fight, but to heal. Many worlds had scars from the old wars, wounds that never closed. They hoped Terra's song could mend them. Maya and Daniel were invited back to Viridia Prime, not as prisoners, but as envoys. This time they walked into the great chamber with their heads high. The delegates rose as they entered. No one flinched at the name Terra. Instead, they bowed. The High Arbiter spoke. "You have shown us that strength is not in destruction, but in unity. The galaxy has forgotten how to listen. You have taught us to hear again." Earth was granted full membership in the Council, not as a new species, but as the long-lost keeper world. Its vote would carry weight. Its voice would be heard, but Earth did not ask for power. It asked for knowledge, for seeds from dying worlds, for stories from ancient stars, for a chance to learn and to share. In Antarctica, the structure remained open. Scientists came from every nation, not to study it as a machine, but as a teacher. Children visited, placing their small hands on the warm stone, feeling the pulse of their ancestors. They learned that humans were never alone, that their blood carried the memory of guardians. Leo stayed at the base, now called the First Chorus. He recorded every new song that came from the structure, every pattern that matched human voices. He found that the more people sang together, the stronger the seal became. Not just against what slept below, but against fear itself. Lyra, the pilot with red eyes, chose to stay on Earth. She said the stars felt colder now that she knew what home sounded like. She opened a small school near the base, teaching human children about the galaxy and alien children about Earth. Years passed. Ships from distant worlds came not to threaten, but to listen. They brought their own songs, their own names for home, and Earth added them to its chorus. The galaxy changed. Wars slowed. Old enemies sat together and shared stories. The name Terra was no longer whispered in fear. It was spoken with respect, like a parent's name. And on quiet nights, when the wind blew just right, people could still hear it, the hum beneath the ice, the song in the stars, the voice of a world that remembered how to protect. Daniel and Maya never became heroes in the old way. No statues were built, no medals given, but when they walked through cities, people would smile and say one word, Terra, and that was enough. For the first time in history, the galaxy understood. The most powerful name was not one of terror, but of home.